Welcome to today's video. We're going to go over everything that I read in the month of July. Say before we go into the stats, this was a pretty average reading month. Most everything was 3 stars. I think some of that came down to there were some books that I was expecting to be mystery thriller that ended up being fiction, and just my expectations were different. They weren't bad books. I didn't read anything that I didn't enjoy. It was kind of mediocre, but it did pick up at the end. So going into the stats, the average time on my TBR was 11.27 months. I read a total of 3,703 pages for a total of 336 books. An average rating of 3.27. And just another little thing I thought I could kind of add in every once in a while is if I bought a book, just kind of what I brought in, because I do talk about my percentage of books read on my physical TBR, so physical books that I own, what percentage of those I read. But again, sometimes I bring in books and I'm trying to kind of use it to hold myself accountable. So I'm now at an average of 55.62%, which is only raised slightly, but that's because I did buy 8 new books in July. Some of them I did read, and I spent an average of $5.96 on books, so I spent a total of $47.70 on all 8 of those books. I did do that on Prime Day. So anyways, that's just a little bit of a tidbit, and we are going to start out. These are the books that I've read. I do have a couple of ebooks, and we're going to go over those first, and then we'll go over the physical books that I have. The first ebook I have was My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I was really excited about this, and I definitely liked the romance with the mystery aspect. I did try and do some of it with audio. I could not handle it in audio. I just didn't feel like the characters in my head was matching the voice and just some of those dynamics. But overall, I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't feel that there was any kind of connection between the characters besides literally a sexual attraction. So overall, not bad. Definitely not my favorite Tessa Bailey, but also not the worst Tessa Bailey. The next one was Cool for the Summer by Dahlia Adler. Such a fantastic YA romance. I definitely thought that this was for a young person reading this, definitely relatable situations. I liked the kind of discussion between not really knowing if you're into the girls or the guys or whatever, and that it's okay to be both. I love the message behind it. I love the characters, the way they handled stuff. I just thought overall it was both a very good character developed book, but also a storyline developed book, and just overall really well done, and I enjoyed it. Another romance we read was The Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I definitely had fun with this. It wasn't quite up to my expectations, but there was some funny stuff that I definitely enjoyed. The characters' relationships were cute, and I really liked the discussion between anxiety and how they incorporated that into the story, all of those things. So I definitely think that this is a solid book. Never Vacation with Your Ex. This is actually by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca, I believe is how you say it. So I like that it's written by a male and female. YA pressures that she feels to be this great athlete, especially with her mother being an Olympic level volleyball player, was really well done. Their kind of relationships and character developments between the two characters, you could definitely tell that there was a solid bond just from growing up together. The family relationships going on this vacation together with their friends and how relationships change over time. I thought that was really well done, and weirdly, I read 2 really well done, enjoyable. My couple of my highest ranked books this month were YA romance, which is kind of surprising. Block Party by Jamie Day. Absolutely loved this book. This is Desperate Housewives vibes all over it, but there's this kind of fancy town. What was it called? The Alton? Yeah. So this street called Alton throws this big block party that just kind of gets a little crazy every year, but one year it goes completely off the wall. It's dual timeline. You go back and see kind of how it got to that point, the characters' relationships and how they all kind of commingle together, but also how they try and put on this front that everything's perfect, and then behind the scenes everything's not. Everything's messy. But just such a fun plot line. You definitely get to see just the hot mess, and the character writing of the hot mess was done so well. Girl A by Abigail Dean. Definitely enjoyed this. I was expecting there to be a little bit more, just a little bit different. I don't know exactly what I expected, but I like the idea that each chapter is a character, but it's all seen through Girl A's, which sometimes I think that worked better than others, but it's kind of just a story. And I'm gonna say the same thing about Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, because I felt like both of these were really solid and I was intrigued, but it's not this action-packed, like, oh my gosh, shocking moments. They're just kind of these stories, a story about what's being told. And I think that's because I was expecting both of these to be mystery thrillers, and they ended up being they're fiction, not really mystery thrillers, so they're kind of a little bit different than I was expecting. I definitely enjoyed them. I really actually kind of like Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance just a little bit more. It felt like this girl Sally was writing this story to her sister Kathy. Just, not a story, but just writing a letter to her sister Kathy about what happened. And I definitely liked it. There's definitely a couple things you know that are not obvious. You don't like know everything. But overall, I thought that was really good. I did like the mystery and intrigue. You almost feel like watching a documentary on a cult-type family or something. So they're both really well done, but I had kind of similar feelings about both of these. On Rotation, very well done. I love the fact that the main character was a doctor. She definitely had some hard times and came off very strong and independent. The love story and the romance was really cute, and I thought that overall it was a really well-written book. It just wasn't anything that swept me off my feet, but I definitely really enjoyed it, and I would read it again. It just was, it would be a book that if I just knew I wanted a very solid, kind of just a book I know I'm going to enjoy reading and is going to be still intriguing again, I think this would be a good option. So overall, really well done, and I did enjoy. The Shimmering State by Meredith Westgate. This one was a cover purchase buy. I mean, look at this thing. Gorgeous. But this is like about treatment for Alzheimer's and the like side effects of this Alzheimer's drug, and almost like it becoming this like overdose thing. It was definitely different than I was expecting. It was intriguing. There was definitely moments where I was like, wait, what? So I would say I want to read this again, because I think that maybe the second time around, just knowing a little bit of those things, I might like it a little bit more. But it was definitely intriguing. It was mysterious. Overall, very well written book. Just wasn't exactly what I was expecting. The Tobacco Wives by Adele Myers. Definitely one of the best historical fictions I have read recently. This is about this woman who is a sewer, which my mom is an avid sewer, so that always kind of gets me in a place in my heart. But I love that the character was a very strong, independent woman. And despite the fact that she's so young, she's got to step in and take over and just really step up in this hard situation. And with people, you know, who are not going to respect her, she does a fantastic job of getting that respect, handling those tough situations. And definitely there is a little bit of that mystery and intrigue, and overall a very well written book. Olga Dice Dreaming, such a fun book. This, I have to say, I absolutely adore Olga. Her personality is fun. I definitely liked the story and learning a little about some of the things Puerto Rico goes through and some of those stories. But overall, very well written book, and I enjoyed it. Those are all the books we read this month. There was a lot of very character-driven books, which I thought were well done. So you definitely had to connect with the characters, which, in my opinion, is a lot more of a fiction, where mystery thriller is kind of like, as long as you get on with the plot, you don't have to like the characters. It's not always true. So it was kind of a month, but I think that that's a lot because they were not those action-packed, in-your-face books or like really over-the-top romances that I was expecting. But overall, it was a great reading month, and I will see you in the next one.